Hello, future NAWBO boss babes. My name is Aquila Mendez-Valdez, and I'm the owner of Oten, Texas, a PR and marketing firm based here in San Antonio, Texas. And I've been asked to speak to you a little bit today about my perspective as an entrepreneur, the lessons that I've learned, the advice that I would give you, the highs, the lows, all the in between. So I've got 5 major points that I want to make with you today, and hopefully we'll knock this out and you guys can get on with your day to take over the world like I know that you will. So I love that you guys are in this high school mentorship program with NAWBO. I've been a member of NAWBO for about 2 years, and I wish I would have joined at the beginning of my entrepreneurial journey. So the fact that you guys get to learn from so many amazing women is fantastic, and hopefully I can add to that a little bit today. So the first thing that I'm going to tell you about being an entrepreneur, these are all going to be things that I wish I would have known when I was starting out. But the very first is that being an entrepreneur means there is so much more behind the scenes work than what you actually want to be doing. So there's a book called The E-Myth, and you guys could, definitely pick up a copy and read it right away. It would have a ton more information that you would love. But the main point that he makes is when you set out to own a bakery, you think you're just gonna bake cakes for the rest of your life and that's your dream, right? What you don't think about with owning a business, even a bakery, is you're gonna have to be handling invoices. You're gonna have to be doing accounting. You're gonna have to be learning the legal implications of owning a business. So there's all of this grunt work behind the scenes of owning a business that might not necessarily be your passion. But what I wanna encourage you is that number one, it's not that hard. You can totally do it. But number two, it is a very valuable thing for you to learn. So don't be intimidated by finances. Don't be intimidated by legal aspects of starting an LLC and how do I set up my insurance. You will tackle those things and you will rise to the occasion as you build your business. So I definitely want to encourage you to take that with a grain of salt and understand that though it may seem intimidating, you can totally do it. The second point that I want to make to you is that communication, no matter you are a sculptor or you are a ad executive at a huge PR agency or anything that you want to do in business, being a great communicator is going to be essential to your success. I know you probably got some English courses right now and you dread writing those essays and you don't love maybe reading the assignment, text that your teachers are putting out there. But I promise you, being able to communicate effectively, whether it's in writing or speaking and presenting yourself in a professional way, is going to be a massive asset to you as you move forward with owning your own business. Or even starting out in any industry working for someone else. So by all means, when you are thinking of skills that you want to hone, writing is one that I would encourage you, no matter the industry that you want to go into, to really think about, am I a good writer? Can I compose a professional email? Can I get my ideas across in an effective manner? And that will take you a really long way, no matter what. Another portion of communication is always going to be your relationships with other people. So as you're developing these connections in the business world, even with NAWBO members that you're getting to come in contact with, being a kind, generous, and respectful person, no matter what, is going to help you in the future. It may not be something that provides a ton of reward right there in the moment, but people will remember down the road. And they will think of you if you handled yourself in a professional and kind manner, no matter what. I can't tell you how many times for me in my own business, I have met with a client and maybe it's not a good fit for them. Maybe they're not quite ready to start with us. But because I handle myself with kindness and professionalism and I do my very, very best to never burn a bridge, you would be surprised how many times Either that person is happy to refer me to someone else, or maybe 1 year, 2 years, who knows how long down the road, they actually come back and say, hey, you know what? Now is a great time to work together. If I had handled myself with, a rude, snarky email, or decided that they don't understand my worth and I'm just gonna, just completely burn that bridge, maybe they're not gonna be coming back for business later on. So by all means, you never know when someone is going to be able to help you in your career. And I would highly encourage you to value every single relationship, no matter if someone is at the bottom of the corporate ladder or at the very top. You treat every single person exactly the same way, with kindness and respect. Now, the third thing that I'm going to want to communicate to you guys today, as we're talking about communicating effectively, is that if you believe being an entrepreneur means that you will have this glorious, flexible lifestyle of being able to just toss in a few hours of work a day and then you're off to just live your dreams, traveling and seeing the world, I would maybe not tell you that's not possible, because there are people who have gotten to that point. But I always encourage young women starting out to understand that in the beginning, it is going to take a massive amount of effort to get to that level where you have earned the flexibility and the lifestyle that you want. I feel like a lot of books on entrepreneurship sort of talk to you as they've already gotten to that point, and they forget to kind of let you know that they have paid those dues. They have gone through those 80-hour work weeks, those crazy schedules, those, working full time while still building your side hustle and your dream. All of those things almost always have to happen in order for you to get to the level where you have the flexibility and the work-life balance that you really want. And we'll get into work-life balance a little bit more in a minute, but one thing that I think people always harp on with being an entrepreneur is that you are going to work longer hours and you are not going to be able to turn your brain off in quite the same way as a 9-to-5 job. Now, this isn't to say that you should just abandon the idea of being an entrepreneur because you don't want to work, these extra hours. The best part of being an entrepreneur is that it feels so much better to work harder for your dream versus then working 40 hours a week for someone else's dream. So while it will be difficult, and while you will have plenty of tears and emotions and times when you just feel like it is all for nothing, it is worth it. And that grind and that grunt work and that absolute, struggle for the first 2, 3, 4, 5 years maybe is going to be worth it. I can tell you that for me, I went the first 3 years of my business before I was able to hire someone to start helping me. Until that point, it was all on me. Every single aspect, every single sales call, every single moment of building my business was on my shoulders. And it's only now that I'm about 6 years in that I've been able to start shutting the laptop at the end of the day, deciding, okay, that's enough for today. I've got to be able to set some boundaries with my clients, set some boundaries with the people that I work with. But it was not like that in the beginning. And I do not think that you deserve to have things sugar-coated. So I'm giving you the real picture right now so that it doesn't surprise you and you're not scared off by it when it hits you right smack in the middle of the face. All right, the next thing that I want to tell you, if I had someone who would have told me this at the very beginning of my entrepreneurial journey, again, is that you need to let go of the having it all myth. What I mean by that is, as women, we are constantly told that in today's economy, in today's world, you can have it all, or women are very close to being able to having it all. And my perspective as a mom of 2 and a wife and juggling all the things is that the idea of having it all is almost unnecessary. we need to let go of that idea because it's putting so much pressure on ourselves as women to feel like we have to be constantly rocking and rolling at 100% in every role we play in life. And that's not necessarily even feasible. Now, what I will tell you is that you can have every aspect of your life that you want, but you have to be willing to give yourself grace. You have to understand that there will be times when you have to choose if some balls that you're keeping up in the air. This is a fantastic quote I heard a few weeks ago, and I think I've told about 20 people this same story. They said you have to decide which balls are glass and which ones are rubber. So let's think about for a moment parenthood. I feel an immense pressure to have my children constantly fed these healthy organic meals, be in bed by a certain time, have extracurricular activities, on and on and on and on, the pressures of motherhood, right? And you may not want to be a mom, but there will be other aspects of your life that are just as demanding, I'm sure. So for me, I had to understand as my children were getting older and older that there were simply some things I couldn't keep up with. I had to either be willing to ask for help or I had to be willing to let go of that guilt. There was another PR agency owner that I spoke with when I was just starting out and I was pregnant with my second daughter. And I was telling her, I just don't know how I'm going to be able to do it all. And she said, Aquila, you have to let go of the guilt that you feel when you're at work worrying about the kids, or maybe it's family, or maybe it's your significant other or anybody. And then let go of the guilt that you feel when you're with that other priority that you're not constantly thinking about work. You'll feel it on both ends, but you have to be willing to let go of that guilt. It's not healthy, it's not productive, and it's really just unnecessary. I can promise you there are not very many men in this world who feel that same pressure, but we put it on ourselves. So definitely, I would encourage you to think about those types of priorities in your life and understand that you can be 100% businesswoman one day. You can be 100% mom or wife or hobbyist if you love painting and hiking. You can have 100% of those things on certain days or certain portions of your week, but it is almost impossible to be 100% on in every single aspect of your life every time. And that's okay. Don't let that be a challenge that you feel like you can't overcome. All right, so the next and the final portion that I want to talk to you about today is that there is no straight line to success. I remember when I was just getting ready to start my agency, I made a list of about 5 clients and I just knew they were going to be able to afford this much of a retainer per month. And that was pretty much my business plan. I thought, all right, I'm good. I'm going to go ahead and just call these 5 people. They're going to sign on in the next 30 days. I'm going to hit my target income that I'd like to hit. And this is going to be the best journey of my life. Now, it has been a great journey. And I have loved more minutes than not. I have loved being an entrepreneur. But that original business plan is kind of like the phrase that, you know, if you tell God your plans, it's just to make him laugh. See, things do not always go according to plan. You'll have a dog that barks, or you'll have a client that can't afford you, or you'll have something come your way that you just cannot control. So remembering that straight line to success is a total and complete myth, has got to be on your radar all the time to keep your sanity. So remember that you will always have ups and downs in building a business. COVID, I think, has been a huge lesson for so many of us entrepreneurs, not just women, but men, women, large companies, small companies, And you guys as well, being in high school and dealing with the tumultuous, changes constantly in school and virtual learning. You guys are dealing with so many curveballs being thrown your way, and being an entrepreneur is no different. I think in your mind, when you're making those plans, again, especially when it comes to the growth of your company, you think it's just going to be a straight uphill climb. We're going to grow by 30% every single year. And this year for me has been the first major year where I really questioned what's going to happen. And what if a lot of my clients have to drop off? And what if we're not able to, the word of 2020, pivot? What if we're not able to pivot fast enough and we lose everything? It's been a very real and very scary time for a lot of entrepreneurs. So I think for me, being 6 years in business and having my first year that I really went through a very scary and challenging time is not bad. That's probably, better than most entrepreneurs experience to wait 6 years before their first major crisis. But the pandemic, I think, has taught us that there are some things completely out of our control, and we have to anticipate those things. We have to anticipate economic downturns. We have to anticipate that there may be financial instability in, the country as a whole, and that may have an impact on our business. So setting yourself up to expect that versus the perfect up for the next 50 years of your life, again, just gives you that resiliency that you're going to need as an entrepreneur. So that is the majority of the knowledge that I would love to take out of my brain and give straight to you as an entrepreneur in high school. I wish I would have known a lot of these things, and I would love it if you guys would reach out to me if you have any questions or if there's anything that I can help you with. I can tell you there's been more than one occasion when I have been at a networking event or gone to a continuing education class or a workshop or seminar, things just like what you're doing right now. And the speaker has said, please reach out if you have questions. And the few times that I have actually taken that initiative and gone ahead and reached out, I have almost always been one of the only people who actually reached out. Same thing with you guys. If there's anything that I can help you with, there were a million people who did that for me and made an introduction or gave me a piece of advice or looked over a resume or said, hey, you know what? I think you'd be a good fit for this job. Let me just, make a phone call. I really, truly believe that we have to continue lifting up others as women. And that's going to be a phrase you hear a lot, but you have to live it on your side as well. When you get to the point where you have started your own brand and you can help others, remember the people who got you to where you are. None of us do it alone. And so if I can be that person for you, I would highly encourage you to please give me a call, a text, email, reach out on Instagram, Facebook, and I'll put all my contact information right here so you can screenshot it or write it down, whatever works for you. So that is the conclusion of my talk. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something. And by all means, you guys are going to change the world, and I can't wait to see it. So thanks so much for allowing me